Yeah, I'm awake. How are you doing, Nadia?
I'm really good. You're very mellow.
I know. I just got out of class actually. It was a very boring class, so
You have to keep it
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Did you say keep it down? But anyways, I guess we'll start with some questions. Oh, she left. Or okay, we'll start with Nick then. How you doing,
Yeah.
Nick?
What's cracking?
Not much. So you just came from a run in LA?
Yeah, I do. Every morning I do. I kind of alternate. I do Runyon Canyon, which is about a 45-minute hike, and then I come home, I eat, and then I do the gym, and then I do cardio, and then Tuesday I do yoga. I come home and eat, and I do the gym, and I do cardio, and I so on and so forth. You know. That's kind of my schedule. And then I hit the studio. All of that's done before 11 o'clock in the morning, and then I hit the studio at about 12 o'clock. And then from 12 to 6, I work, and then I come home and relax.
Do you see like any other people through Runyon Canyon? Because I know a lot of celebrities like they run up there.
Yeah, I actually just saw that kid from Pitch Perfect, the one that's all, I forget what it's on.
The one that was also in
Workaholics.
uh
He's
I
on
heard.
Workaholics, I
I
think.
heard. I heard Starkillers goes there.
Yeah. There's a lot of celebrities that go up there. So you see people and stuff, and you get to see them in their awe to prettiness, you know, because everybody's just up there killing it, you know, and so it's kind of yeah, you don't really talk to them, but you get to see them, and it's all kind of interesting, I guess. But most people are just focused on the hill, you know.
Are you?
That's mine. Sorry, guys. Go ahead.
Alright. So is that usually just every day in LA for you, every morning, or what?
Yeah, I try to keep it, you know, I try to keep really focused, and that helps me, especially with the yoga and stuff. It really helps me to keep focused and positive in this business, because this business can be very, it's either really high or it's really low, you know. So, you know, it just helps me to keep myself positive, you know, and always working forward, always going forward, and it helps me to deal with just everyday life issues, you know, and being able to have that stress management and stuff in a very stressful business is it's important, you know, to keep balanced.
What do you usually like? Do you have like a spot to eat for breakfast or what?
Every morning I kind of do the same thing, because I'm very ADD, so my attention has to be on a schedule. So I basically eat frittata, which is vegetables and eggs together, and I do like all egg whites, and then just all kind of garden vegetables, very organic, and everything I buy and I eat is all organic. I try not to eat out at all. If I do, I really only do like sushi, this kind of thing. But yeah, it's just basically like frittata with a little bit of cheese on it, and then
You make it?
yeah, I make it every time, every single.
All right. You need to send me recipes, Nick.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's my thing. You know, I like to cook, so that's kind of
No,
my
I
thing.
actually didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, I like to cook. I'm always kind of doing stuff on Instagram about cooking and stuff. So, yeah. There's the kitchen. See?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let me plug my battery in real quick. Hold on.
Nick, you're so unprepared.
I know. I'm sorry. All right.
Nadia, where are you currently at right now?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. Where are you
Okay.
currently at?
You're like whispering. I'm actually in Toronto. I actually have been here for a couple of months. I moved here to be with my husband, and yeah, so I'm living here now, and I'm recording here. I have a recording studio, and I'm trying to really appreciate the city because it's an awesome city.
Nice. How long have you been living in Toronto?
Probably 3 months now. I lived in LA for a year before this, so this is still kind of new to me. I really like it.
Really? Is the weather nice up there?
It is actually nice right now. I think it's because it's See, Toronto didn't really have a summertime. I don't know if there's any people from Toronto right now, but Toronto was kind of mild, like as far as like the weather. It wasn't really, really hot, so I'm trying to like make the best out of the last like 3 days that we have of sun.
Yeah, and as much as me and Nadia worked together, I only saw her twice in the year that she lived here.
Nick!
Because she's so busy, you know?
Nick.
Yeah.
We're both traveling, dude. We're traveling every single weekend.
Yeah, it is. We do. Yeah, that's the breaks of, you actually live in the same city. We saw each other more when we didn't live in the same city.
That's true. We need to live in different cities more often.
Yeah, because then we travel together, you know, and it's like the whole thing. Yeah. So, yeah.
So speaking of busy, are you guys working on anything new? What's up? Like,
I sent it to you this morning, Nadia.
Did you? You didn't tell me you sent it to me.
I sent you an email this morning. I sent it to you this morning.
See, my morning was at 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I have already, like, I had, you know, cleaning ladies here. I cooked myself some eggs. I, you know, dried my hair for 4 hours. You know,
yeah.
did a lot.
I love when the cleaning ladies come, too. They're amazing.
I didn't realize you were on the East Coast already, or still.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ladies. What did you say?
I said I didn't realize you were still on the East Coast. I thought you were just vacationing in Montreal and stuff.
No, I was actually. I just got back to Toronto, like, literally, like, 2 days ago. So.
Yeah, I was in Montreal, too, this weekend.
But we missed each other, Nick.
Yeah.
It kind of explains. It kind of explains why you're so up and happy and excited, Nadia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always happy when I'm talking to Nick. Nick, like, makes me laugh like nobody else.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my friend over there, you know? We've been friends for a long time. God, it's been a while.
How long?
Since 2000 and... We started working together in, like, 2008, right?
Yeah, well,
No.
2009, actually.
No, because I was doing remixes for you before that. It wasn't until...
Yeah, but we got in the studio in 2009.
Yeah, 2009, Christmas.
Recorded, like, all the songs that we've been releasing for the next 10 years.
It takes time, you know? It takes time. You know? But,
yeah. How did you guys meet?
Oh, that's funny.
I stalked him.
She stalked me a little bit, yeah. No, we just, I think one time she contacted... I don't remember. I know I did some remixes for Rapture in, like, 2007, and then she heard them, and then she contacted me personally, and we just started kind of working together, and we were very much like, you know, I really was a big fan of hers, and she was a big fan of mine, and we just, you know, over 6-7 months of kind of working together, we just kind of, you know, I helped Nadia with a few things in her career and stuff, and yeah, we just kind of started. I did some remixes for her, and then she's like, "Hey, let's get together." And she came out and stayed. What? Almost. It was like 5-6 days or something, right?
In Vegas, yeah. It was like Christmas time when everyone's like.
And we didn't even care about Christmas. We were just like working. We were like Christmas. I had my girlfriend like screaming at me, "It's Christmas! You gotta stop working!" And me and Nadia are like, "What? No."
We're coming up with pressure, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that song.
Yeah, my girl was like yelling at me and the whole thing, and I'm like, I got Nadia Ali in the studio right now, you know? I'm like, come on, you serious? Like, what's Christmas is a few presents. I got this amazing person in my studio right now, so that's kind of what it was. And yeah, so I was getting yelled at, and then me and Nadia, we wrote Pressure, we wrote Keep It Coming, and then we wrote the third one. What's the third one? Is
Control, and then
Take Control, and then Hooks.
Yeah, we recorded 4 songs.
Yeah, and then it was funny even with Pressure. If you don't mind me getting into this, but it was funny with Pressure when we first did it. Nobody wanted the record.
What?
It was like weird. It was like it was like nobody wanted the record, and then I showed it to
That's
Spin.
not true.
No, because I showed it to Spinnin like before, and then like a year later, I showed it to him again when you had the Rapture thing being done by Avicii, and they had
What about the whole like? What about the whole? Oh, you mean like way before?
Yeah,
way
yeah.
before.
Yeah, like when I first finished it, they didn't want it, and they were like, nah, this and that, and like the whole thing, and then they ended up picking up Rapture with the Avicii remix, and then I showed it to him again, and Jorn was like, oh my God, we need to have this, and then that's kind of.
That was an amazing mix.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, they got Alesso, which Alesso was at the time, nobody knew who he was. He was just coming on the scene, but he was like really supportive, like Sebastian and Swedish House Mafia and everything like that. And then they said, well, we're going to have this kid do the remix. And I was like, all right, whatever, you know. And we never really thought it was going to explode the way it did, and then it just exploded. Yeah, it was like we started seeing the videos online of like people singing it in the crowd, and like Sander Van Doorn and Armin playing it and stuff, and they would turn the music off real quick, and everybody would start singing the hook, and I was like, wow, what? Really? This is crazy. So that's kind of that's how I remember it. How do you remember it, Nadia?
I remember it more like there were two record labels that were fighting over that song.
Yeah, when it came back, it was right. It was what was that house label?
The English
Defected.
label.
It was Defected. It was Defected Records, right? And then Jorn.
Exactly.
And Jorn came to the table. Jorn is the A&R of Spinnin'. He's the one that controls musical freedom, size recordings, Spinnin', Afrojack's label. Yeah, Wall Recordings. All those labels that are Dorn, all those labels that are associated, they're all controlled by one company, and it's a big Dutch company, and all the Dutch guys are together, you know, and they help each other and everything like that. So that's why they dominate the whole industry, is because they're all friends and everything, and they kind of do this, you know. But I've been with them since 2005 when I first put out Discoteca, so I've been a part of that crew for a long time, you know. Yeah. And then it went on spinning, you know, and it got to where it is, and that's how you guys know me, you know, from Pressure. Yeah.
Oh, you did a lot of great work before that too.
Yeah, I did. A lot of people don't know that, though. A lot of these kids, because the EDM industry has just come about since 2011, a lot of these kids don't know me from, like, the Discoteca and Scream and all the Nick Terranova days and stuff like that. And if you go back and listen to a lot of the music that I've done then, it's very influential into what's going on now with all the big drops and all that stuff. I was that kind of that person. That's why me and Nadia actually met, was because of my sound and everything and the way it was at the time. And, yeah, kind of move forward that direction, right?
Yeah. How do you feel about this whole EDM craze? I mean, especially with all the deaths at Izu in New York and everything. I mean, it really sends out a bad image to what DJs and the house culture actually is. I mean, how do you, as a DJ, feel about all of this?
Can I answer that, Nick?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is for both of you. This question is for both of you. Because I remember back in '98, I was listening to Armin, and I was like, this guy's great. And everyone's like, who's Armin? And then now they're like, oh my God, Armin. And I'm like, Nadia, Stark. I was like, you guys didn't know who they were 10 years ago.
Well, here's the thing. I have a perfect analogy for this. When you open a window, right? You open a window, and if you're hot, you pretty much want like a nice breeze to come in. But when you leave that window open, sometimes mosquitoes fly in, and sometimes, you know, dirt flies in. But it doesn't mean that you need to close the window necessarily. You know, it just means that you need to screen for it. And, you know, EDM, the bubble is huge right now, and, you know, I'm older, so I've seen, like, a lot of genres of music come and go. You know, like in the 80s, it was like metal, and then in the 90s, it was like grunge music, and then, you know, and then it was hip hop, you know, in the year 2000, you know, for like 10 years, and now it's EDM, but, you know, and dubstep, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon, and everybody goes through phases, and it's definitely, I think it's like kind of at its peak right now, but there are people that have been making music in the dance realm for, you know, 10 years, 15 years, almost 15 years I've been doing it. Nick's been doing it for probably 20 years. And, So people who have been around and the people that are doing it for the actual love of the music, they're going to stick around. And the ones that don't, don't because, I mean, you can't criticize dance music just because, you know, sometimes people are irresponsible, because that happens in rock music, happens in country concerts where, people drink too much, but definitely there is a lot of drugs in dance music, but so there were a lot of drugs like LSD in rock music, back in the day too. So it's still a newer thing for a lot of people, so they haven't learned how to like moderate it and haven't learned how to do it with a balance. I've never actually popped any pills, and I don't have any judgments against people that do, because it's up to whoever wants to do whatever they want to do. But me personally, I'm there because I love the music. So, that's why I make the music.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nick, what say you?
I got kicked off.
You're back on.
I got kicked off. I don't know. It keeps kicking me off.
Well, you're back in time to answer the question yourself.
I think a lot of what it is a lot of new experiences for a lot of kids, and it's sad what happened. It's really sad because kids are really experimental, and I think that's what makes our scene so great, is the experimental fact of what people are into, and they're trying new things, and they're going to do things, and this is just the beginning of it. This is just this kind of thing, and I think there's always going to be, this stuff will always happen, and it's a shame. But even back when I was growing up as a kid, when gangster rap came in and kids were getting shot and gangs and the whole thing, and they all blamed it on the music, and all the parental advisory stuff happened and things like that on albums. I grew up through all that, and watching, and people being scared because of gangster rap and how it influenced our children and made gangs and all that stuff. And it's like, these things are going to happen, and the best thing you can do is just look out for yourself and look out for your friends, and stay away from that, because in all, this is about the music. It's not about how many pills you can take or how much Molly you can do, or this kind of stuff. And those kids, I feel bad for them, but it's just a shame. I would just suggest making sure that you stay away from the stuff, and don't be one of those mosquitoes that fly in the window. Because it sucks for everybody, and especially as this thing is growing, they're just gonna, kids like this, they're just gonna, it's gonna ruin a lot of things, but also it's gonna bring a lot of awareness to the situation as well, too. So you're gonna have these things, and it's unfortunate, but the way the EDM scene grows and the way it's growing right now, this is just the beginning of it, and a lot of people say there's a bubble, but I don't think there's a bubble. I think what you're gonna see is pure talent is going to take over, and a lot of these kids that are hyped off of each other will fall through the cracks, and they'll be over with. I call them the 2-year DJs, kind of. They get hyped for a year, they tour for a year, and they realize it's easy to get to the top. It's really hard to stay there. I'm sure that's anybody that's successful in this business and is going to have a career. Sorry, there was 2 parts to that statement, but anybody that's successful in this business, and the organic growth is what you need to pay attention to with some of these DJs. Nadia, over the past 10, 12 years, when Rapture hit, it took her 13 years from when Rapture hit to where she is now. But you guys just are figuring out, some of you are just figuring out things from the last 3 years of where she's come from. But it's the same thing for me. I'm just organically growing. I don't buy fans. I don't try to hype myself off somebody else. These kind of things. I'm very true to what I am as an artist. And a lot of kids will say to me, why don't you have more fans, or why don't you have this? Because it takes time for people to discover, I can be a part of a big DJ's crew, and you guys will know me, but that doesn't mean that you guys are going to see me as an artist. You're going to see the bigger DJ and then his friend. And that's kind of what's going on a little bit with the whole scene right now, where a lot of kids are getting hyped off bigger DJs. They don't even put out records. They make a couple of mashups and they send them out, and somebody goes, oh, these are great, and they have a couple of dates. But you will see over the next couple of years the true talent will evolve, and they'll be the mainstay of what goes on. And a lot of these young kids, they'll have great careers, and some of them will fall off and some of them will stay on, and this is kind of how it goes. It's the way with anything, with any kind of industry. So I hope that made sense.
It
No, it
did.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. That makes
Yeah.
sense, Nadia?
For sure, for sure. I wanna get everybody in the conversation. So,
Yeah, we should start with some questions with some left to right. Should we go left to right? You?
Yeah. Ferris, what do you
So who
think?
wants to go first? Who has a question?
We can go left to right. That's fine.
Yeah, left right fine.
Do it.
Yeah, question time.
All right.
what's your name?
For us?
What is it?
For us?
For us?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Where are you from?
Palmdale, California.
Palmdale,
Awesome.
California. It's great. Everybody's from California. It's funny.
I'm not.
All right. I have my
Not
question for.
originally, but I am here.
I have my question for Nadia.
Sure.
I was on Spotify the other day and I noticed you listen to Amar Diab, Ahla Dunya. Is there any other Arabic music you like and any other artists you admire as well?
I actually love Arabic music. My husband is Arab, so
Nice.
I tend to listen to tons of music like Firuz. There is also actually Elisa that I really like.
She's
a
awesome.
Lebanese singer.
Yeah.
And then there's Raghib Alema. These are all like Arab singers for
Yeah.
all of you that don't know these artists. But I love listening to all kinds of music. I know it sounds super cliche when artists say that, but I literally like, if anyone was to tap into my iTunes library, which I really hope they don't, they would know, like, I listen to everything.
That's awesome.
Do you have any other questions
Would
for
there be
Nick?
any possibility of you doing any Arabic influenced music?
You
Like with
know,
the beats?
there's like a talk with me doing like a duet with someone from the Middle East, but in between the tons and tons of other music that I have to work on, it's coming along slowly, but hopefully I will do something like that in the near future.
Can't
Well,
wait.
Tantric has a very Arab vibe to it.
Yeah, that's an old song. Now you know that this girl is a serious fan if she knows.
I don't even know that song, okay? I don't know that
Nick,
song.
you're not a real fan.
I'm a fan. I just, I never heard that song.
It's really good. I love that song.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have to listen.
Yes,
Cool.
I
Any
know.
other questions?
Yeah, do you have any more questions?
Oh, for Nick
Yeah.
as well? Nick, how did you get the name Starkillers? I'm really confused about that.
The name Starkillers, it's funny because a lot of people, for the longest, I've spent a lot of time trying to brand this as just me as a person. A lot of people think it's a group. A lot of people think it's more than, it's more than one person. Basically, Starkillers came from, it's an old kind of backstory to Star Wars, and Anakin Starkillers that was his original name, was Anakin Starkillers, and then they changed it to Anakin Skywalker.
Oh.
But if you look at a bunch of the games and stuff like that, they go back to the backstory of what Luke's Starkiller was, or Return of the Starkiller instead of Return of the Jedi. So there's a lot of that kind of backstory. I wasn't like a big fan of Star Wars, although I grew up with it and the whole thing, and I loved it and the whole thing. I wasn't like an uber fan kind of thing. That's where it came from. But I just liked the name, and I thought it was really cool. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you just say Starkiller instead of, making it plural? And I always say, well, you can't go, hey, there's Starkiller. Like, you got to say, like, hey, there's Starkillers kind of thing. Like, so it just, in the sense of it, it sounds cool, but a lot of people, it confused a lot of people in the beginning of my career because I worked with another guy named Austin, who everybody thought he was Starkillers because nobody knew who I was at the time, and this kind of thing. So it's kind of what happened with the whole name. But yeah, it's just me. It's always
Nick, it's so hard to be famous.
I know. Yeah, it's not easy. I'll tell you that. It's not. It's nothing. Nothing is easy about being in any kind of way famous, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing. It's really tough. it's hard work for sure.
Thank God I'm not famous.
Hey, I'll say that it's hard work being a fan too, because sometimes we come off as really big creeps, and we're all just really trying to meet you guys.
Yeah, totally.
It's so true. It's like we
I had a
tweet you
fan- I
probably
had a
like
fan-
every day, and you're probably like, who is this person that tweets me like every single day?
Yeah, no
Like,
one.
I love you.
Do you ever wonder if you get noticed? If like people are like, does he notice that I'm tweeting every single
All the
day?
time. I'm like,
You
I wonder
respond-
if you see my tweet.
Yeah, you retweet me. I was like, oh my god, they retweet me. I'm like going
and
crazy
then
in my room.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you've
they're
actually
retweeting,
responded
they're like,
to me.
oh my god, they know I exist.
Yeah, you actually responded to me on an Instagram picture, and on my Instagram picture, the one that I posted up with the email.
Yeah,
So
Oh, yeah,
so
me too.
excited.
that's
And you
funny.
retweeted me on Twitter too.
That's
Nadia,
funny.
you retweeted me as well when I quoted you in your LA video about the caffeine. That was hilarious.
I try as much as possible to stay in touch with everyone. I mean, the problem is that when you're in the middle of like the studio, it's like sometimes you want to just like take a break and like talk to your fans, and then like you say something and then you start working again, and then you don't remember to like interact, and then you do interact, and then it's like 4 days later. But then people always appreciate it whenever it does.
Oh, and there's like hundreds of thousands of fans out there. I'm
Yeah.
sure you can't really get back to everyone.
Yeah, but it's always amazing when people reach out. Like I never take that for granted.
Yeah, it's not something I've always kind of been very on hands with my fans as well, because I wouldn't be here without kids like you. You know what I mean? I would just be another kid in the bedroom making music, you know. And I'm sure Nadia feels the same way with her fans. You know, it's like you guys really are the only reason we exist. You know, and the bigger your fan base gets, I think a lot of artists tend to lose. Maybe not lose it, but just they get busier and busier and stuff like that. And a lot of the scare factor in talking to fans is sometimes you give a fan attention and they tend to just want to keep at it, and it can get a little bit scary. I had this one kid who just literally, every single day, 3-4 times a day, was tweeting me and this, man, oh, your music's great, oh man, I'm going to the club tonight, I'm gonna, just crazy stuff. And eventually he got a tattoo on his side of Starkillers, and like I was kind of blown away. I ended up going to Houston, and I had a show in Houston recently, and I actually met him. But I was really nervous about meeting him because he was so upfront with everything that I was like, damn, man, this kid's like crazy, Like, but when I actually met him, he was just really excited, and I met him and his girlfriend, and he didn't show up with a knife, and this kind of thing. So I took him to dinner, and then I took him in my limo. And I kind of took him out, randomly, and just showed him kind of what it's like in my life and what I do. And this was a random thing. It wasn't set up. It wasn't anything. I just kind of tweeted him, hey, man, you want to go to dinner? And you'll see, like, you could actually go back and look at the tweets when I was in Houston of me talking to that kid. And he got a big tattoo and stuff. So he turned it out to be really cool. And now we're friends. Now we talk all the time. He, texts me and stuff. And he's respectful, and he's kind of laid off. But, yeah, it can be a little bit intimidating when you get somebody who's, like, really – oh my God, you're beautiful. Oh my God, this, and this. You get
Especially when you're a girl.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I can feel Nadia, at the time, I've seen some of the things that come out on Facebook and some of the comments, and I'm just like, wow, But yeah, more or less. Are we there? Did you get it? Yeah.
I'm
I don't know
here.
what just happened. I'm back.
You guys all froze.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't see Nadia.
Opened. Who's Megan Sullivan?
I know, I clicked a button on accident, sorry.
It's okay. No
I was
worries.
trying to play with this. Trying to figure it out.
It's all good as long as we're on still.
Yeah, is everybody back?
Yep.
My bad, guys, sorry.
Thanks.
I've never been on Google Plus Hangout before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
Oh, Nick, we can't hear you.
Yeah, is everybody...
You can hear me now.
Yes.
my bad, sorry.
So anyway, I didn't mean to get kicked off, but that's kind of like, it can be a little bit intimidating, you know, and that. But I always try to give all my fans either a retweet or like what's up or a smiley face or something, just to acknowledge, because that's important, you know. And I think it's it's a big thing for when fans actually do get a response like, wow, this guy, because I know I can come off weird on tweets, or I can come off weird on posts, or a little bit arrogant, or these kind of things, because I'm not really in my mind. I'm just kind of saying what I feel at the time, but it's not really. It can just come off very abrupt sometimes when you're doing stuff. So I have to really think about what I'm saying, you know, make sure everything's positive, these types of things, you know, and you do have your trolls out there that no matter what you say, you know, they just come at you and go crazy, you know.
Yeah, I think fans are equally afraid of you guys being afraid of us. Well, I know I am. I'm like, I don't want to look like a creeper.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Dude, we're all fans of somebody. So
Yeah.
it's
True.
like, you know, it's amazing that people have like sort of the confidence to reach out to fans, and you know, and especially when they're very like personally, like I've cried sometimes at the kind of responses I get from people. The way, you know, your music can sometimes impact somebody in their life, and I never take that for granted. I mean, that's like the best part of being an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have to ask I guess person, like the next person is Junkie, right? Janky?
Yeah, Jenky, what's your question?
Jonky? Yeah.
Junkie.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know how to pronounce it.
So, I have Jonky. No worries. So, I have a question for Nadia first.
Sure.
So,
Where
I saw
are
you a few
from?
months ago at Exchange in LA, and you were amazing, by the way. I'm from Riverside in Southern California, but I currently live in San Francisco.
Amazing. Okay, awesome.
So, so I saw you in Exchange a couple weeks ago, and you were amazing. And I actually just recently got tickets to see you next Friday at Ruby Sky in San Francisco, of course. And I was wondering, like, how do you differ between your different shows that you do? Because I know you're every weekend. Like, how do you bring to your set list?
The last thing that you said got a little cut off. What was the last question that you
How
asked?
did that go through?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. What?
Like, how do you bring variety to your set list? So, like, how do you
I wear different
Can you hear me
dresses.
now?
Easy. Well, I try to switch up the set.
Wow,
like
sorry, my internet connection is horrible.
it's okay. It's the thought. It's the thought that counts. You're here. So yeah, I always try to do like different versions of my songs. I try to update them all the time. I tend to change the set depending on where we're performing. Sometimes like the concert organizers want like, you know, an hour. Sometimes they want 30 minutes. Sometimes they want 45 minutes. So it really just depends on the show. But I think we lost you, Junkie.
Yeah, she got kicked off.
There she's back.
Now she's
There
back.
she is. There she is.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Like I said, it's a thought that counts. So you, so hopefully that answered your question. And do you have any other questions for Nick?
Is she?
Oh, her mic
Oh, her
is off.
mic's not on.
Is your microphone on? I think you have to click on.
I think her mic is off.
Top
Hear me
right.
now?
There you go.
There you go.
Is she back?
Oh no, I don't hear her still for some
No,
reason.
she's still talking, but we're not hearing anything. Hello?
Starbucks.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry. So my question for Nick was, if you had a celebrity crush, Nadia Lee, of course, who would it be?
If I had a crush on what? Say it again now. One more time.
I think she said if you had a celebrity crush.
Who would your
Oh, if
celebrity
I had a celebrity crush.
like? Who is your?
My celebrity crush actually is It's the girl from. Oh my God. Her name's Alex. Hey, Sarah. What's the girl's name from the Lion game?
Oh gosh.
Her name's like Alex Derogio. Her name is, but she's from a TV show called The Lion Game.
Didn't you have an Instagram picture with her?
Yeah, I did.
See, this is when I start looking like a creep.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, but she's awesome. I like she when I met her, she was really nice and really cool, and she was actually out with the label manager from Tool Room, and we went to go see his girlfriend DJ at Ruby, not at Ruby Sky, but at Avalon, and she was there, and I looked over and I was like, oh my God, like I was like that creep, you know. So I got her friends to introduce me, so I didn't look like some crazy creeper in a club, you know, and yeah, so it worked out pretty good. But I've had those moments too where, you know, you feel like, okay, you know, you want to get a picture or something like that, and it's this weird kind of feeling inside you where you don't want to like make them feel weird, you know. So you're like, oh, you know, like that, but you want to get that picture, you want to get that like, hey, what's up kind of thing. So I've been there too, you know, when it comes to being a fan, more or less. But yeah, that's kind of my celebrity crush, you know.
Nice. Real quickly, Nadia, who would your celebrity crush be?
My celebrity crush, I don't know, will forever be, well, can I choose like 3?
Don't lie, don't lie.
It's hard to pick.
It's Nick Terranova, aka Starkillers.
Right, yeah.
But it's one person, okay? It's not 2.
Right.
Okay, so number 1 is so cliche, Brad Pitt. Forever and ever. I don't care how old he gets. I love him. Number 2, it would be Hugh Jackman, because he's
Nice.
like, I mean, he's Wolverine. Come on.
What are you gonna say?
And then it would be like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Well, you picked all the top guys, you know.
Whatever, dude. I said I was gonna be cliche. I didn't say that it wasn't cliche.
I have a celebrity crush. I have a celebrity crush on Leonardo DiCaprio too. He's like amazing. That guy. Like if I ever did meet somebody, I would be like totally in awe.
I will cut you. I will cut you.
You would cut you. Yeah. It's fun. Yeah.
People in the Google Hangout are like, oh my God, why is she saying that she's gonna cut him?
Yeah, well, back in the day, I used to talk like this. Excuse me, you look very beautiful.
Where are you from?
Nadia. And then I used to call Nadia all the time, and I would say, Nadia, like, what are you doing? Because, like, you're very beautiful, and my lips are very kissable. And she would
let's explain to everybody why we talk like that. It was because of the Jersey Shore phenomenon.
Yeah, but it was this kid Nick Kroll, the Nick Kroll Show, and he has this alter ego. His name is Bobby Bottle Service, and he's like,
yes, oh my gosh.
You know, I don't know if you know this guy, but Bobby Bottle Service. So Nadia started talking to me and like this whole kind of thing, and I talked back to her, and it was just kind of this thing for many years has been going on, you know. So every time we talk to each other, it's kind of like that.
I think I should speak up for all of Jersey that the Jersey Shore does not represent Jersey at all.
Yeah. It's a little bit close. It's a little bit close, but no. You know?
I had just moved here to California when it came out, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, are people really like that? Oh my gosh, they totally talk like you. And I was like, oh my God.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from New York, from Long Island, but I live in California now.
Oh, amazing, amazing! I can totally hear the Long Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I ran away from home because I'm originally from Utah, I ran away from home and moved to New York, and I lived in Long Island in Syosset.
Oh, that's not too far. I live in Suffolk. I'm from Suffolk County, but Syosset's not like crazy far at all.
Right. Yeah. I was in Nassau, right? Nassau.
Yeah. Nassau County. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I lived there, and then wanted to be a rapper, and that didn't work out too well.
I can do a little bit of a Long Island accent.
Right, but I wanted to be in NWA, nice. You know, but I was white, so it didn't really work out that well.
There's a lot of guys that are on Long Island that are white that would conspire to want to be rappers, so
Right. Yeah, they want to be in NWA as well.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
People under 25 are like, what's NWA?
Yeah.
No, I know what that is, but I'm not going to
Let me Google that real quick.
You can Google it if you want. You know, it's where Ice Cube, Ice-T,
Yeah, the rap group.
Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, all those guys came from. It was a group they were in before, and then they kind of all, just in case you didn't know, but, you know, it was a group they were all in before and then separated and did their own thing. You know?
Yeah.
So tell me, let me ask you this real quick. Tell me from left to right one thing about you that you think is, you know, kind of crazy or something crazy you've done or like whatever.
Something crazy I've done?
Yeah, everybody.
All right.
Left to right.
2009, it was Halloween, and I dressed up as Super Mario. My cousin dressed up as a terrorist.
Oh, no.
And my other cousin, she dressed up as a man, and we're walking through Panorama City in LA, and we're going to CVS, KFC, getting all the people's reactions, and then we're trying to go back home. Police stopped. They jumped out of the car and told us to stop. My cousin had a fake gun with him, and they told him to put the gun down. And my cousin made me put the gun down. I don't know why he didn't put the gun down, and he bent over the hood of the car, but didn't even ask him. It was just crazy. It was like all pandemonium going in. I was about to cry.
That was a really, really smart idea.
Yeah, right.
They told us it was a good idea, but also a bad idea at the same time. You don't know what kind of people in LA are going to come get you.
Right, exactly.
Gun.
That's nuts.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, Janky.
It is.
Wait, but we have to get Megan's questions because I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I mean, she can tell it real quick. She can say what her crazy thing was, real quick.
I think her internet's still working.
I guess that she left. Okay, so
do you guys have any tips?
Do we have any what? Tips? What was it?
I think both of them are. Who's lagging?
I'm fine.
Oh,
yeah, I'm
fine.
okay too.
Fine. You're fine, Megan. I think it's just
Why don't we
Janky.
go to Megan's questions?
Okay, so I was actually going to ask you, Nadia, how does because I can relate because my family also lives in New York also. How was it because I'm sure you have a very close, tight family. How was it when you told them you were going to move to California and then move to Canada? Like, were they, like, freaking out or were they like, oh, my gosh, you're going to be so far away?
It's just become, like, the joke of the family. Like, oh, which city is Nadia going to move to now? Actually, what's really funny is I lived in New York for 25 years. So, you know, that's a long time to be in one city.
No, I agree.
So, but, you know, it was actually, it was definitely super hard for my mom and dad, but it was super hard for me, too. I was really attached to my family, and, you know, I would miss them all the time, but thank God there is FaceTime.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Skype. I literally talk to everybody every day, and so it makes the distance a little bit smaller. Kind of like the nature of being an artist, like, you know, no matter where you live, you're always going to be away from someone that you love, you know? So you just kind of have to accept it for what it is, and, you know, and just, you know, it's just stories to tell your kids when you get older, you know? Like, oh, you know, I lived in New York, I lived in California, I lived in Toronto. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
And then the other question is, how's married life, and does your husband get to come on tour with you at all?
My husband, actually, Nick knows my husband. He comes on tour with me, like, all the time.
Right.
Married life, I mean, I shouldn't, like, jinx it, but so far it's wonderful. And he's just super supportive. No matter who you are, you should always want a very supportive partner. My husband supported me when I wanted to go from the East Coast to the West Coast, and we were long distance the entire relationship. We were together for almost 4 years. So, you know, we definitely struggled, but you know, it's like we appreciate the fact that we were long distance for so long. So, yeah, it's definitely tough, but you know, married life has been wonderful. Thank you for asking.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so my next question is for Nick. Is what or who inspired you to become like a DJ and producer?
It wasn't a who. It was more of an experience I had. When I first got to New York, I came from a small town in Salt Lake City, Utah. You know, very, very small. And I ran away from home and went to New York, and I met this girl, and she took me to my first New York-style wedding, which was like a DJ and dancers and all this stuff, and you know, centerpieces that were $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And, I walked into this thing, and I was used to, you know, people getting married in their backyard with the, you know, the bishop coming, and you know, I'm Mormon as well, so well, Jack Mormon, but you know, so I thought that was, I couldn't believe what I had saw. And these people were getting married, and they had dancers and a DJ or a band and all this stuff, and I was just like blown away. And I asked one of the dancers, I said, "How do you get a job doing this?" And she's like, "Oh, you got to come out to Long Island and audition." So I went out to Long Island. I auditioned, and she's like, "Wow, you're a great dancer." So I was really big into hip hop dancing and all that stuff. And yeah, I went back in, and when I ran away from home and I moved to New York, I showed up in New York on 42nd Street, Port Authority, and ended up staying at the Christian shelter for homeless teens. You know, and I stayed in New York at this Christian shelter, and I worked at a Baskin-Robbins with this little Indian couple that owned a Baskin-Robbins in New York on 3rd Street, or on 3rd Avenue. And so that was kind of a little backstory. But anyways, when I went to this wedding, I became a dancer for this company, and I was on a show one time, this wedding, and the DJ didn't show up. And so I had all the equipment there and everything, and they asked me, they're like, "DJ's not here, what are we going to do?" I said, "I could DJ." And I knew nothing about it. So I started DJing the best I could and playing records that I knew and stuff like that. And that was like at the time, like, "Another night, another dream is always true." You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was playing all those kind of records, and then the candle lighting ceremony came, and I ended up playing all the wrong, you know, it was like Brown Eyed Girl when the bride had blue eyes, and like this kind of stuff, like all these crappy, like, you know, songs that weren't supposed to be, you know, in the candle lighting ceremony, and just weird things like Prince for the grandparents, you know, and these kind of things that just weren't right. And I just, you know, I kind of took over that way, and I was so enthused with it and so excited about it that at the end, the bride came up to me and she tipped me like $100, and at that time I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy," you know. But she tipped me like $100. She's like, "You saved my wedding. Thank you so much," you know, like. And I was like, "Wow, this is cool." So it was kind of the power of what I was able to do music-wise to people around me, and I think that's the biggest reason. An influence that I've had is the power of being able to evoke emotion the way you want from certain people. And I've seen Nadia on stage. We perform a lot together. We've toured. You know, I brought Nadia actually to the agency. She wasn't touring at the time in the U.S. as much. And I brought her to my, I told her, remember that in San Francisco? I was like, "You got to meet my agent, Nadia."
Oh, yeah. Nick's always suggesting people to me. I love Nick. Nick's always giving me, like, awesome advice, always supportive. Yeah, that was a really, really great suggestion.
Yeah, I told her, I said, you know, "Why don't you meet my agent?" You know, and she's like, "Oh," and she was with another agent that she was very loyal to, you know, because when you have an agent, you become very good friends, and you talk to them every day, and they're, you know, part of your life almost as a best friend would be. You know, it's not, you know, these kind of things, and that's how it works in the industry. Is your agent and your manager become basically the main people besides your significant other that you talk to on a daily basis and stuff. So, you know, and you have a relationship with, and you get mad at them, and you yell at them, and you know, get upset and the whole thing, and, you know, "Why am I not playing here and that guy is, or why is this?" You know, it's like all these things that go on in your head. But getting back to it, the power that you get to have when you're on stage, and that kind of being able to control people's moods and make them cry or make them happy, or these kind of things. I think that's very infectious as an artist. You're able to, especially when it's your stuff. When I play my song and people are screaming and their hands are up and this and that, and they're singing along with it, you did something right, and that's important. And that's the most gratifying thing in this business is being able to evoke an emotion from people, and being able to kind of control their heads and where they are throughout the night, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, what are you going to make them feel like? From 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, where are you going to take them? And this is a very deep concept of DJing and performing, but it's that's what I thrive off of, like how well can I control this crowd and get them to do what I want them to do, and that's
important.
No,
it is, yeah. Not many people do that, so that's good that you do that.
Yeah, I mean, coming back to it, there's a lot of young kids in this industry, a lot of kids that are starting to come up now, and I just, personally, they're great at what they do, but I don't think they have the feeling. Like and I'm sure Nadia can agree with me, back in like 96 and 97 and stuff, and this is going way back, but when I first started in house music, I always go back to house music was a feeling. It was a certain vibe you felt, and it's deeper than just playing a few records, or playing all these mashups, or all these kids are playing mashups and stuff, and they're not letting the whole record happen, because it's important to understand the feeling of what house music is, and I think a lot of people have gotten away from this. There's a lot of kids that are very into it, I'm sure, but at the same time, it's very much a feeling that is inside of you, and it's not because you did, a couple of pills or you smoked the right stuff or like that. It's deep within. It's moving, and I think a lot of these younger kids who are in the industry don't understand that, And it's not to say, and I'm talking about performers and these kind of things. I think they just play records to play records, and it can get a little bit annoying, especially when you go to festivals and every single artist plays the same records just in a different order.
Yeah.
Like what
That's
what are we?
exactly what I say.
Yeah.
What are we eventually paying for? It's like how many times can you hear L or AD in a night before you're like, okay, I've heard it enough. Like,
yeah.
come on.
That's like pressure, God, like
Yeah,
I'm so
I mean, but the whole thing is pressure has soul in it. That's why it's felt, and that's why people like it, and it becomes a classic because there was so much that went into that song between Nadia's struggles at the time, and she was going through a manager change and a lawyer change, and I was going through a girlfriend change and changing the industry and trying to find myself as an artist, and why don't people like me, and why do people like them, and this, there's a lot of things that go on in your head, and pressure was the realization of what that was. When we talked about it, it was all about the industry. When Nadia describes boy or this and the thing, it's not necessarily boy. It's more an expression of what the industry is, and it's tough, it's really tough, but I hope that made sense.
No, it does. It's interesting to hear
deep.
like the other side, because we're the people going to these festivals and feeling like the bandwagoners or whatever.
Right.
We feel that way about them, like they're annoying us with them just trying to go and party when we're there for like the meaning of the music and the depth of it. So it's like I said, it's just interesting to hear like on the other side, like what are the other producers thinking, like, oh, like you said before, like the other people just going playing records. So it's like we basically feel the same way. So that's
Yeah, they don't even know the difference.
Yeah.
Anytime something gets mainstreamed or monetized, into a business, you always have these people that are going to jump on, and managers are going to come out of the world. All of a sudden, my friends, they're two DJs, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, my manager, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, like they're really talented girls, and I'm helping them out and the whole thing. And then I meet their manager, and I'm like, what? This guy has no idea what is going on in this industry. He is just on it to be on it, I'm like, and I tell them, I'm very upfront about, my friends and stuff. Me and Nadia, we've gone at it, not in a bad way, but we've talked about the industry and, where we think things should be and where they are, and it's all positive, but at the same time, you do get this kind of jump on factor, and
tell the truth, it's not all positive.
I'm just trying to be positive about it, you know? Yeah.
Well, these
Yeah.
kids, like, they don't even know the difference between house and trance and techno.
Yeah.
They call it EDM. What's
Yeah.
EDM, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this will all change over the next, little while. Like I said,
Yeah.
anytime things get brought to the mainstream, you have everybody that wants to jump on, and eventually these kids, they'll go to the next thing because that's what jump-ons do. They jump on to the next thing. They jump on to what's hot, or oh my gosh, these guys are cool because my friend thinks it's cool. It's like my fan base is my fan base. I've never been hyped off anybody. Nadia's the same way. She's built her fan base because of what she does as an artist. So people are there for her, and I've seen it in her shows. People cry. They scream, they jump up and down. Nadia goes crazy. We all go crazy, and that's important because in the end, with your fan base, these people are going to be legit to you. That's why people that like Iron Maiden, they've liked Iron Maiden their whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was real, not because it was hyped off the back of somebody else, not because they did one good song, because there was an artist there, and that's what people get involved with, and that's what people latch onto as an artist. The people that jump onto, they just jump onto trends, and it's you're always going to have that, but it is what it is.
Hopefully
Sorry.
it dies down eventually, and they all go somewhere else.
Hopefully.
Well, let's maybe what it is the fact that the industry will manifest itself into the state it needs to be in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. Yeah.
Nadia?
Time is a healer, guys.
Yeah. Any other questions you guys have?
Yeah, we have one more person.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hi, I'm Sidra. I'm from Sayreville, New Jersey. So, yeah. I'm 23 years old. That's about me. All right.
Well, you're 22 and you know about a back history of Starkillers? That's amazing.
I'm 23, and I remember when I first got my first radio/CD player/cassette player. I used to listen to all these tracks. I was 8 years old. I remember to this day. This is great.
Crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I consider myself to be a great big fan, but hopefully not a creep.
That's awesome.
But okay, so I do have a question for Nadia and as well as a question for you as well. So Nadia, so I see on your Instagram, on your Facebook, and your Vine, because I follow you on all of them. You're really open with your religion and your culture. And prior to social media, we didn't really know anything about you personally besides your music, which is personal on its own page. But now, more of your background comes out with the help of social media. So, that's really wonderful. And it's really wonderful that your family is so supportive of all of that and everything. And, it's a real big inspiration. I'm actually Muslim and Pakistani myself. So what advice would you give to young adults or even younger people that have loyalties to their own culture and their parents' culture, but growing up in their own culture and even their own religion and are struggling to find their identity?
That's a great question. First of all, I came to this country very, very confused. I was like, okay, I know I'm brown. And everybody is white around me, or Spanish or black, and I knew I was different. So I had to deal with becoming Americanized, and it's like I could cry you a river, basically, telling you all of the horrible stories of the confusion that I felt. But really, it molded me into what I consider a well-rounded person. I love my Eastern values. I also love being American, and I know a lot of people criticize Americans, but the one thing that I love, and I realize this also when I come to Canada, is you could literally be from anywhere. If you're in one of the big major cities, you're gonna literally be whatever identity that city is. So if you live in New York, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Spanish, Indian, Chinese, it doesn't matter. You're basically a New Yorker. And if, and the other cool thing about this country, and a lot of people take it for granted is like, your freedom of religion, like you can be from anywhere. And some people are atheists and you still live harmoniously with these people. And, of course people take it to another level, but the advice that I would give to, especially, people from my descent, Desis, I would tell them, just to keep a good balance, because it's awesome that we are different, and it's important to embrace what you are and not to lose your culture. Like, I really want to teach my kids how to speak my language. I want my husband to teach them, Arabic as well. I want our kids to speak like 50 languages.
Yeah, me too.
They're going to speak like a word from every language, hopefully. But anyway, so I think the real key is a balance, like I used to go out, to nightclubs, but I never drank and I never did drugs, and I still had a good time, but people take it to like all kinds of levels, and everybody's choices are their own. But ultimately, for me, I want to raise my kids to be balanced. I don't want to like go like to the extreme and like tell them like they can do this or they cannot do this, because kids are gonna do what they want to do anyway. Because I did what I wanted to do anyway. So I definitely know that from experience, but definitely, it's important to keep balance. By balance, I mean a few things. Nick and I, like, we both can agree, like, it's important, like, even though, like, we perform at night, it's really important to also, like, realize that there's a whole world out there that functions during the day. Yep. Being, even if you enjoy nightlife, like, also, appreciating things that you can do during the day, trying to stay healthy, which I think is a key part of anybody will benefit from that. So, like, I hope that's, like, not more advice than I was asking.
No, that's great. I really love how balanced your lifestyle is. Like, I have the same goals. You're such an inspiration when it comes to that, I mean, as well as other things.
Thank you.
It really is. It's really amazing.
You're so sweet. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one, Nadia. Being balanced.
I try, man.
Yeah. Well, you see my Twitter every morning. Runyon, yoga, this. It's tough, man, in this business, because you're traveling everywhere. You're tired. A lot of people think I'm like some crazy party animal, because on stage I'm doing my thing, going nuts, and all this stuff, and so they automatically assume that Starkillers is this crazy party animal guy. But man, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to the gym. I'm working out, because you can't let this industry get a hold of you. If you let it get a hold of you, it'll just rip you apart. Life will rip you apart.
Not just this industry, any industry.
Yeah.
Fashion, whether you're trying to be a lawyer, if you're trying to be whatever student, whatever you're studying, it's always about a balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you kind of touched on the question I was going to ask you, Nick, about like working out and you're eating healthy, and I love to train too. Eating healthy, I'm not so good at, because I really love all kinds of food.
Yeah, so
but yeah, so I mean, it's again with the balance is like you're not only such an inspiration with your music, but you're also like a huge source of motivation in working out and training. And I'll see your pictures, and like you said, like you're up all night DJing, and then the next morning you're doing yoga, and it's like, well, if he can do it, I can do it. Like, like anyone can do it. You have such two different lifestyles that you were able to balance into one. That's amazing. Yeah. How are you able to do that? That's my question. You kind of touched on that already.
I'll show you how I'm able to do that. Sarah, come here. This girl I met a long time ago. Sarah, come here. We got like 9,000 people online right now. They're all Googled in. Hey, come here. This girl, Sarah, she is, here, you can meet her. This is Sarah.
Hi.
This is my
Hi,
girlfriend.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, this is good. This is cool.
Yeah, she is the absolute biggest biggest motivation of my life, because she's actually came into my life and helped balance me as a person, because I was really rough around the edges, you know, and I think Sarah was put here in my life to
Yeah, you were.
make me feel normal about my life, and what, you know, how good things really are, instead of always going, you know, I was a bit negative before, not negative, but just I didn't understand why things weren't working out in my life, and she helped to bring that to me. And she has Crohn's, which is a really nasty disease, and she bleeds from the inside, and she gets up every morning and goes to the running canyon. And
I got him into yoga, by the way.
You know, she's become a spokesperson for Crohn's and Humira and these types of things. So as strong as she is, I see what she goes through every day. I try to help support her and be there for her and do that as well, you know. So she's the reason why I'm able to kind of motivate myself in this way. I have a lot of drive and motivation anyways. That's why Sarah liked me so much, was because of my drive and motivation. But, you know, she's been
better than one for sure.
Yeah, and it's not easy. Sarah shoots all my music videos. She does all my photography. She does, you know, like Rapture and, you know, here you go. I'll see in a minute. But she does, you know, she shoots all my videos. Rapture, she did Let the Love. She does all my photography and branding and stuff with my manager, and she has a big influence in my life, just like Nadia's husband, where he's a tour manager and goes with her and stuff. You have to have people around you that are support you, you know, and in this business you can have a lot of bloodsuckers. You can have a lot of people that are around you just to be around you, and I really pride myself on not having people around me that don't make sense. You know, and the people that are around me are very close, very, very close to me. A lot of acquaintances. There's a lot of, you know, people I know and out in the industry and stuff. When you're out, you know, you tour a lot, so you get to meet people all the time. So you meet people 2 and 3 times, and you're very, you know, you do have a lot of acquaintances. But the people that are around me are, you know, very close, and they have a very, not only are they in my life significantly, but they have a very strong purpose, and they're all moving to make the Starkillers brand and to help me with myself. And, you know, my manager advises me, and my agent is really good to me, and these kind of things. So, you know, it takes a lot, you know, with that. And I hope that I answered it. But that's kind of my balance, you know, because I could be really rough around the edges. I can be really what do you say?
Gangsta.
Tough, right? You know, like, I guess more or less. So she helps me.
NWA.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, and she always gets. She's in the industry, so she knows what it's like to tour and have girls around you and all this stuff and people around you, and you know, you get girls that are crazy and the whole thing. But it is, you know, it's the experience of life, and that's what you kind of go through.
It's hard to be famous. There's so many girls that want to meet me.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's it. Does that make sense?
By the way, that's a joke. I hope you guys don't actually seriously think that.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to know?
Your new collaboration.
Yeah.
Is there a collaboration?
Yeah. So this song is something that we started again 4 years ago, and you know, it's a very cool record. It's not like, if you're looking for something super emotional, this is not it.
Yeah.
This is just a fun, like, record with an attitude. So
this is Nadia. This is Nadia not being Nadia. That's what I would say.
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's Nadia not being Nadia. It's more like Nadia connecting with her, like, New York roots.
Right.
Okay, I can dig it.
True.
So it's kind of fresh.
Yeah, attitude. You don't normally sound like this on records, so I think it's cool.
Nick likes to feel different all the time.
She is different all the time, you know. But that was the thing about when we worked together, was we were so excited about working together that we ended up pushing each other in every different manner. So I'm not normally I'm not really blown away by singers in a studio. Like I'm very like, okay, you're great, you're a singer. Like, but Nadia like had proved herself over and over again. So when we actually got in the studio, it was this kind of edge that happened. It was like she was like this, and I was like this, and I was like, no, I want it to be like that, and she's like, no, I want it to be like this. So this push and pull between us ended up creating this whole kind of
spontaneous combustion.
Yeah, spontaneous combustion, because she wasn't letting me just be me. She was like, Nick, you got to be like, you know, got to push it. And I wasn't letting her just be her. We were pushing each other in every single aspect, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
We definitely have a unique creative energy, and you know, I think that's people, you know, I think people sense that, you know, that's why I think our collaborations are, they generally do well. So I hope people at least, you know, like dancing to it, because I'm sure Nick is going to kill the production. He's working on the production right now. It's only been 4 years, but
she's like, Nick, I want you to work on my album, but I don't have 40 years to do it, you know? So, yeah.
Well, your collaborations are very unique. Like I remember like listening to your same song with another DJ. It's amazing, and then hearing it with Starkillers, it's like, whoa, this is really different. And
yeah.
Yeah, and then your vocals.
It's always different depending on who you work with. You know, sometimes people bring out, you know, Nick brings out like a certain attitude in me, where, you know, another artist, you know, depending on who, like, you know, the BT song that I worked on with Artie, that, you know, I knew I was working with producers that like to make music that's a lot more, you know, a little bit more emotional. And so I knew I had to kind of bring something like that. So everybody brings something different, but Nick is always fun.
Yeah, I try to just be on edge. Everything's edge with me, you know. It's like I always come like more or less like I want the biggest record of the night, you know. And that's what the Starkillers attitude is, and the whole brand is very boss, you know. It's very I want to take a hold of you and just kind of shake you a little bit and get that out of you. You know, and I think that's important.
And you guys were worried about sounding crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry that I have to run, but unfortunately, I have to run. I have to record. I have to record some new music that I've been working on for another 4 years.
All right, did you listen to that, Nadia? You should listen to it.
I'm gonna listen to it. Like I'm gonna listen to it as soon as we get off the phone.
All right.
I have one last question for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Shoot.
Nick and Nadia, what does tomorrow bring?
What does tomorrow bring?
Nick, you go first.
Quoting your song with Natalie Paris and Richard.
Yeah. What does tomorrow bring? Tomorrow, I always look at as a fresh day to achieve. I set my life in very small steps, because in achieving, taking these steps helps me to achieve small goals. And as I'm achieving small goals, you know, I don't set myself too high to where I look up and I go, well, shit, that's never going to happen. I just like to take these small steps in achieving certain goals each day. So today, just get up, work out, do my thing, make sure I'm on my schedule. Get in the studio with a fresh mind. If it doesn't happen today, I have tomorrow to do it. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I work on my life is, you know, just small steps. If you try to take big steps, you're going to fall into a puddle. You're going to miss the crack. You're going to, you know, hit the curb and these kind of things. And if you just take these small steps, you'll always progress in your life and always have goals that you can accomplish every single day. So today, I got to finish the Nadia record. You know, tomorrow she's gotta like it. You know, that's kind of what it comes down to. Then I gotta move on. You know, and that's kind of thing. And that's kind of how I live my life. And that's, I guess, every day is kind of a new day. And it works out that way. You know, and that's how I live my life. If I try to get too big, then you know I get let down. If I just take these small steps, I accomplish things, and I'm always moving forward.
Awesome.
Awesome. What does tomorrow bring for me? Usually everything, because I leave everything for tomorrow.
What you put off today is what tomorrow brings.
I'm just joking. Tomorrow, you know, I think, again, Nick totally hit the nail on the head. it's all about smaller goals. And for me, like, what I love about life, and I'm generally a super happy person, I tend to always look at things as the glass half full. The glass is half full. And so what I do is I try to, like, whenever there is a situation that seems kind of overwhelming, I try to remember, like, number one, I'm super lucky to be doing what I love for a living. Number two, you know, my husband always gives me this advice. He told me his mom always used to tell him it's all about trying your best. It's not about being the best. It's about trying your best. There's always going to be someone better than you. There's always going to be someone more successful than you. And you just can't get caught up in the comparison game, because when you try to compare yourself to other people, you know, you're always going to end up being hard on yourself. So, like, it's always important to keep things in perspective, and just to personally, I like to always be optimistic about things. So.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Try to live your life in optimism.
Yeah, for sure.
It's difficult, but in some aspects, you know, it works, and it feels good that way. And Nadia and I, hopefully this record, you know, does well, and you know, we can move on to the next day, you know, and keep living.
Hey, at least my mom likes it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's called Hooks.
Yeah. So, anyways, guys, it was amazing to hang out with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys so much for being so amazingly supportive and for your super, super thoughtful questions. Nick, I love you long time.
Yeah, always. Me too.
And yeah, I'll stay in touch with you. I'll listen to the record. Thank you, guys.
And if you guys have any other questions, or something pops in your head that maybe you were nervous to say on here, you can always tweet me, you know, and I'm pretty good at answering questions and stuff like that, or you know, you want to know dates or something like that, or you just forgot, oh man, I wanted to really ask them that, you know, hit me up, and I'll definitely
You're so sweet, Nick.
fire back, and I'm sure Nadia will too, right? Right, Nadia? Right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, thank you for your time. That's great.
Yeah. You guys are all awesome. Thank you for hanging out and, you know, getting to know me a little bit. I know I can be a little bit crazy at times, you know, but
Yeah, just good talks.
A little bit.
It was great hanging out with you guys. It was better than
now you know why
calculus.
Nadia loves me so much, you know? That's because I'm just kind of a personality, you know? Kind of crazy.
It was really nice getting to know a little bit of your background and how you got here. I didn't know that, and it's really awesome to see the way you came to where you are.
Eventually I'm going to update my Wikipedia. So the whole story is going to be in there. So I'll put it on there. You guys can read more about it. You know?
Awesome, guys. Have a wonderful,
Love you. Bye,
wonderful
guys.
day.
See everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Talk to you guys.
Can't wait
Bye.
to hear the new record.
Can't
Yeah.
wait. 4 more years?
It'll come
I
soon.
hope